What's up, man?
What's going on?
Dude, I am super stoked right now. I just saw a midget sledding with what are the fireworks called? Roman candles on it, zooming down a hill. I am pumped. I'm ready to go. Nothing gets people more fired up than midgets on sleds and fireworks.
I mean, I guess I go for, normal cup of coffee, I guess.
Oh,
But
bro, you got to
I'm
up that.
pretty sure if I saw a midget on a Roman candle, was a Roman candle in his ass?
No, no. That
Well,
would
I just
have that would have
assumed
taken it to a
like
whole different level right there.
I assumed the midget. It is a man, correct?
Well, it's 2021. I don't know if I can make that assumption. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. I'm Ed,
Zach.
and here we are. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on here, and a lot of stuff has taken place.
Yeah, I missed you, man. We
Now,
we hadn't done this in a while.
bro, with the winter storms that came through, and everybody losing power and water and all that
Yeah,
other shit, But here we
you
are.
know, I don't remember this happening when Trump was president. I, that's the one thing I think that we can both agree on when it comes to like the way of the world today. It's like if this person was president and this happened, then and this person now he's president and now it's not happening. Like everybody on Twitter, everybody on Facebook, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's because this guy's in office."
Oh,
Like none
absolutely.
of that matters. That's so stupid.
Dude, I think Nixon's still getting blamed for shit today.
Oh, I mean, probably right. He's the reason why. Well, whatever. The point is that nobody fucking knows. They all have an opinion. Is the point?
Everybody wants to bitch about something here and there, but we are here to bitch about the shit that's going on right now. Well, right into the NFL, right?
I
We've
mean,
got
are we bitching? I'm kind of excited. I'm on pins and needles, waiting to see what's going to happen with all these quarterbacks, man.
and that's the weird thing, right? Because of the fact that so many quarterbacks are up for free agency or trade, and like everybody has their rumors or ideas of where people are going to be going, and some of them I can see, some of them I don't see, but one of them I didn't see was Carson Wentz to the Colts. Did you see
Yeah,
any of this coming?
I mean, I knew that he would be traded, right? We knew that
Of
the
course.
the relationship there had been severed. He kind of was acting like a prima donna after he got paid. It was kind of weird. Um, but yeah, I knew he was going to go somewhere, right? I mean, the GM and I guess Eagles management basically just said we're done with this guy, and then we saw that on the field when they just decided that Jalen Hurts was just going to start. That's it. He's not hurt. He's not. He's not missing. Like he didn't die. We're just going to start the other guy over him and see what we got.
So it seems like that we're on a same story with different characters as far as quarterbacks and their relationship with the front office, right? I mean, we've already seen a lot of it with Deshaun Watson lately. Apparently, Matt Stafford had some problems. I don't know if it was just the whole organization of the Lions, but he demanded a trade. Um, this is putting the quarterback position and those who run at the position in a different light, like as far as they have this type of power to where they can control their own destiny, right?
Well, yeah, what I've noticed is weird is that anytime you talk to any analyst or any player or anybody who's followed football at all, they always say that the most important position is quarterback, and we're seeing in this offseason that yeah, it might be the most important position, but I think we're learning that like locker room chemistry is way more important than anything we ever thought before because if guys just quit on a quarterback, they're just not going to play inspired. It's odd that we're talking about this many quarterbacks changing hands, especially when we've always been told when you have a franchise quarterback, you just don't move that guy. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Well, what also is weird is I I mean, I haven't heard of any players prior to Stafford getting traded from the Lions being like, "Oh, Matt, we want you to stay." Haven't heard anybody from the Eagles saying, "Wins, hey, we want." I honestly haven't really even heard anybody from the Texans saying, "Hey, Deshaun, we want you to stay." You've got ex-Texans like Andre Johnson saying, "Dude, get the fuck out of there." Like
Yeah,
it's
cut bait.
dis-
Like as soon as you get a shot, go somewhere else and make your money and be happy. Yeah, it's weird. I think we talked about it on the last one where I'm shocked that people in the Texans locker room were basically telling Deshaun, "Yeah, dude, go get yours, man. Just take off. We're fine. We'll figure it out."
They
I
won't.
guess it's finally morphed into everybody realizes it's a business, and it kind of feels gross.
But at the flip side of it, you have to look at it as far as from here on out, anytime a quarterback, mainly right now, is unhappy with anything, they're just going to sit and pout until they get what they want, right? And that's not, in my opinion, that's not how it should be.
No, and I don't think that going forward that'll be the way that it is forever. Um, I think some of these teams are showing that, you know what, you might be the quarterback and you might be, the key to our success right now. But if you're that big a pain in the ass, we're willing to just get rid of you and sacrifice a couple years and be better off down the road. I mean, I'm more shocked, I think, with all the quarterbacks moving, with hearing about Russell Wilson voicing his displeasure.
Yeah, what's your take on that, man? Because I'm really interested in that.
Well, I wasn't sure. I'm used to him, kind of towing the company line, kind of just being like, all in. I'm, next man up kind of mentality, always for the team. And I feel like maybe now he realizes, there were some guys that were always that guy, and they ended up losing. Like think about Andrew Luck,
Hmm.
right? Andrew Luck was always team first, I'm second, I'm just a cog in the wheel type thing. And I mean, it literally beat him down so much to where he hated football. Like how do you take a guy who's loved a game his whole life and just totally destroy him? And so I think maybe Russell Wilson kind of saw some of that. And then, obviously, winning is the best deodorant. So maybe they started losing. So he thought, well, shit, this isn't working the way that I want it to. Maybe we need to put some stuff out in the media. Maybe I can get my voice heard.
Yeah,
I
his
don't
own
know.
his own fucking chef was the one that leaked that out. And
Oh, wow. I didn't hear that shit. I'd
yeah,
fire that motherfucker.
I think the guy who does his Manscaped too was probably the one that leaked some of that out as well. Him and his
You
whole
know
his
what,
whole
though? Like,
team.
that's one thing. You just can't get rid of a good manscaper. I don't care what they say.
Bro, if you're making $400 million over a lifetime, I bet you have a manscaper. I don't care what
Oh,
you
no.
say.
I guarantee he does. What I'm saying is, though, is that once you find a guy that he does a good cut, good fade, I don't really know if you want to go with a different
Good
guy.
fade. Like you cut, G.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's move back to Carson Wentz. All right. So he got traded to the Colts. Um, I think he's getting a massive upgrade as far as O line on this. One of the top 10 O lines in the league. Um,
Yeah, when you look at the pro fantasy or pro football focus, they have Indianapolis's offensive line ranked 7th, and the Eagles were 19th.
yep. You
Um,
know, go ahead.
I know going into some of those rankings too, it also has to do with like the quarterback holding on to the football.
Yep.
And so that I don't know how much of that is on Wentz, but I do know for sure that in 16 games for the Philadelphia Eagles, they had 14 different offensive line arrangements. So I
That's
don't care who
nuts.
you are, that sucks.
But also at the same
So,
time, this past year was completely different, right? With COVID and all the protocols and everything with it, right? Did you happen to see if any of that had to do with injuries or?
I did not look at that part. I know there was a lot of injuries. I know there was let's see, it just says that yeah, just 14 different O-line 14 different O-line lineups through 16 games. And then also this season, it kind of goes without saying they played like shit, but no offensive pro bowlers, and I mean, we know
Ouch.
Zach Ertz was out, and his best wide receiver used to play quarterback for U of H, right? So not really looking good on the positive of the offense there. But
Well, with that amount of
let's talk.
changes, go ahead.
Oh, I said, well, let you want to stay on the Eagles? Let's stay on the Eagles real quick. I mean, all those changes. I still think that the center played all 16 games.
Hmm.
So that's one good thing, I guess. But yeah, when your best wide receiver was a guy who was a quarterback 3 years ago or 2 years ago, I don't think that's a winning formula.
But the effects of changing the O line 14 times shows. I mean, Carson Wentz was sacked 50 times last season. He was number one in that position, right? Like the dude got beat up.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, he played 12 games, 2,600 passing yards. He had 16 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. I mean, he's not that's not a stellar performance, but like you said, when you end up on your back 50 times, that's not a winning formula either. I would love to say that Carson Wentz is the reason why the Eagles lost, but I think we just going back and looking at the season, you can just tell that just that was a team plagued with injury and holes, and they just never showed up.
yeah.
What's crazy to me though is that still in the last week of the season they had a shot at the playoffs after they were that piss poor.
Well, that whole division was complete bullshit, anyways, right? I mean, what Washington was the only 500 team, I think.
No, they were 7-9,
Oh, okay. So, and
even
they
worse.
even worse, right?
Yeah,
But to go back with the O line on that, even though they had 14 different changes on it, Carson Wentz still had was ranked second with pocket time at 2.6 seconds,
really.
and that's crazy with that type of bullshit offense or offensive line. But also at the same time, he scrambled 22 times. So I mean, the dude was always on the move. Now you take that same concept and you move him over to Indy under with Philip Rivers. Now, granted, completely different quarterbacks, right?
Yes.
You know, Philip Rivers spent 2.3 seconds in the pocket, right?
But I mean, also he's what 17-year veteran or 16-year veteran. He knows where the ball's supposed to go. He has a way better idea of what kind of blitzes and stuff they're going to throw at him. I mean, I say all that, and he still throws the ball to the other team. But think about just the offensive weapons on the Indianapolis Colts. To me, the rookie running back that that kid's amazing. I mean,
Jonathan Taylor.
yeah, he went through a lull in there in the middle from probably like week 3 to week 7 or 8 where he wasn't really performing that well, but then down the stretch he looked really good. He looks like a promising young star. And yeah, T.Y. Hilton's probably on his way out. I mean, I know he's a free agent. He's probably not coming back unless they well, I don't know. You think you're going to bring back him if you have Carson Wentz? You think Carson Wentz is a big enough splash to
No,
make T.Y. want to play one more season?
no, because with having Philip Rivers there, I mean, you didn't really see a rise in Ty's numbers. And granted, again, Ty was injured as normal. Like it seems like a constant battle with him to stay healthy throughout the entire season.
Right. That's what I was going to say. I don't know if we saw the best of T.Y. Hilton because he was hurt. And I think that's why I think Michael Pittman was so good because yeah, he's young. They don't have a lot of tape on him, but he was the only guy, right,
Right.
for this little bit of time. But having one guy who knows how to play wide receiver, who was actually drafted, you know, playing wide receiver in college, not thinking that they were a project to switch him over, he's got to be better than a quarterback that plays wide receiver.
Oh,
So I think
absolutely.
that's an instant upgrade. Um, I'm just, I feel like I'm happy for Carson Wentz,
Hmm.
and maybe that's the wrong term because he kind of acted like a little bitch out there, like crying and complaining, and he didn't get his way, and then he got benched for Jalen Hurts because he was. I mean, I think in
I
those
mean,
type of aspects, he needs to just step back and realize, man, this is a business. They're trying to assess what they have. I'm just going to go back and I'm going to work harder and I'm going to get the job back. And he didn't do that, so he's kind of getting bailed out in a way. I don't know.
no, I totally agree with you on that. And I think this brought him back down to earth because I feel like he was on such a high horse coming from North Dakota State. Very small school. Granted, in that conference, they were constantly just winning national championships. But to be pulled from there to go into the NFL, where a lot of the quarterbacks that were there went to major universities and did big things in the NCAA, and then to get knocked on to the bench for Jalen Hurts, it was a kick in the teeth, like you were saying, right? But maybe it's brought him back down to a more level head. To once he gets to Indy, he's like, look, I'm no bigger than anybody else here.
Right. And I think that's the lesson that he needed. I think you're right when you talk about where he came from, being a small school, being recruited to a small school. He probably lived in a small town, wasn't always had always been like the biggest fish in the small pond. Then he moves to North Dakota State. He's still a big fish in a little pond. And then now he goes to Philadelphia, and it's like Philadelphia doesn't give a shit who you are. If you
Right.
don't win, you ain't nobody.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to me, that's a tough sports town. As soon as you act like a diva, you've got to be on your ass. There's no room for that kind of shit in Philadelphia, I feel like.
Well, while we're back on Philadelphia, another player there that was unhappy is Zach Ertz, and rumor mill's been going around that Zach Ertz is wanting a trade. He wants out of Philly. Um, what do you see him and Carson reuniting?
No, the tight ends in Indianapolis, Jack Doyle and Mo Alley Cox, those are stud players. Jack Doyle tends to get injured a little bit. I think he's missed most of the last 2 seasons, but when both of those guys are healthy, they are both huge talents. Not to say that Zach Ertz is not a huge talent. Obviously, he is. We've seen what he can do. He's a Pro
Hmm.
Bowl tight end, but I just feel like they've got something going there in Indianapolis. And then the trade that they made to get Carson Wentz, like the amount that they paid for a, almost MVP quarterback for 2017 or 16.
Hmm.
I'm not sure that you want to go out and overpay for a free agent who is oft injured when you already have a guy who's not as productive but gets injured just as much but is productive when he's healthy. I don't think so. I think they have a nice little nucleus there. I wouldn't want to disrupt it. I do think Zach Ertz gets traded, um, but I don't think he's going to command anything crazy. I mean, honestly, what are you going to give for a tight end who gets hurt? What, a 3rd-round pick, maybe, if
Maybe
that?
maybe a third round pick, but I mean, he's a monster, and this was what his first year actually being injured. Um,
Uh, I mean, he gets nicked up. I mean, I do feel like um, the way that the NFL has gone now, that tight ends tend to get hurt more than any other player because usually they're the biggest guy on the field that's running down the field. And so, those safeties, they really just kind of chip away at your legs to take you down. And so I think we see a lot more injuries from tight ends. So, I mean, yeah, this was his first season to be seriously injured and miss extended amounts of time, but I mean, he's coming off of an injury. Like, there's no way around it, And you know how in the NFL, once you get an injury, you have a stigma.
yep.
Everybody's kind of scared of you. They kind of got to see what you're going to do, and most people don't come back like Adrian Peterson.
What do you think about him getting traded to say the Ravens and they run a double tight end system?
That would be pretty cool. I think that's the only way you can probably have Lamar Jackson succeed, is to have the threat of 2 tight ends. So where it looks like every formation you're going to run the football. Um, I feel like we've seen a huge regression in Lamar Jackson's passing efforts.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel like that would be. I don't think he's going to want to go there. Um, I think honestly, he's going to look to get paid, right? Wherever he can go and get paid, that's probably where he's at. I don't know what his current contract status is. I wasn't into the contract side of football. I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan.
And
But
while we're on that, it's kind of funny. Ever since we started this podcast, it's amazing on how we're growing our knowledge within the sports and stuff like that. And we dabble a little bit more into the salary cap and the dead cap and all that other shit. But still, to this day, I'm not going to understand half the shit that they say when it
well,
comes to
and to be
salary cap.
fair, I think most teams have like a whole legal department dedicated to just the salary cap. I think you have to have somebody that can read the small print and understand what all those fucking definitions of shit are. I don't know half the words they even fucking use.
the,
But
the owners just sit there and they look over at the Geekazoid with the numbers. Hey man, we good? Okay.
yeah, he
Yeah.
just gives them a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's all they fucking need.
No. Don't say
But
fucking words. I didn't ask you to say words. You just fucking
yeah,
give me a
no,
thumbs up or a thumb down.
don't
No.
talk.
Don't make eye contact with me, motherfucker. Just throw up a thumb. God damn, I don't pay you for that.
Just fucking listen and give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, bitch.
Well, we know that's not happening in Houston, but
Well,
we'll get back to that later.
It might be, but I think it's just, hey, can we do this? And it's like, if you do that, I'm going to release some pictures. Oh, okay. Well, then I guess we're not doing that.
Bro, I told you for years when O'Brien was there, I felt like O'Brien had pictures of Bob McNair in fucking lingerie or something, getting pegged or something.
I mean, yeah. When you look back on the history that is Bill O'Brien, so how the fuck was that dude employed as a head coach for 10 seasons?
I don't know.
But how many division titles did he win?
And how many Super Bowls did they go to? Goose egg.
No, but what I'm saying is that doesn't matter in Houston. Go and look at the stadium.
I know.
And look how many banners they have up, right? And every single one of them is just a division title. It has nothing to do with anything else because apparently that's okay. But just go a little bit further north and look in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. And you tell me what banners are on the wall there because
that is true.
I don't think they're hanging up division titles.
It's funny. It's probably people who are new listeners are probably like, "Fuck! All y'all do is talk about the goddamn Texans." But first off, let me clear this. Not is it because of the fact that I'm a Texans fan. It's because of the fact that's such a comical fucking team right now that you have to talk about them. They've done such stupid shit within the past year, starting with the trade of DeAndre Hopkins to where we're at today, to where they released J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson's possibly going to get traded. And that brings us into the next topic I want to bring up is J.J. Watt. All right. I've told you for 2 seasons now, I think that dude needed to be traded because he still had some value to him. What happened a couple of weeks ago? He requested to be released and the Texans gave it to him immediately, right? So
I feel like they owed it to him.
Absolutely. I mean, the dude did a lot of stuff for not only the Texans defensively, but for the city of Houston as well. For the city of Houston, of course, it was a heartbreak for them to lose somebody who stepped up in a time of need during like Harvey and other things that come up in Houston. It sucks. But 2015, 2018, J.J. Watt, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, he was just a monster. He's a monster still, but injury prone.
Yeah, I mean, even getting him now, I mean, he's probably 85% of, like JJ Watt, like the legend that we remember. But I mean, even still 85%, I mean, you can almost plug him into any defensive line in the league and it improves them greatly. I mean, he not only with talent, right? Just raw physical talent, he's a specimen, but with now his, development in the league and playing under different defensive coordinators and learning different things, his knowledge is there too. So not only does he bring you like a valuable piece on the field, I mean, he's also kind of a coach helping younger guys and that kind of stuff and showing leadership. And you already know that he's going to work his ass off. I mean, didn't he buy that cabin that one time and all he ate was like a baby goat every day or some crazy shit? I mean, the guy's dedicated to his craft. You know what you're getting. And I think you're right. I think it's 2 years too late, but I still think he can help a team.
Well, and the heart and the drive that guy has shows that he's going to try to stick around as long as possible, and it's going to hurt him at the end of the day because I think he's going to stick around way too long to where he gets some type of serious injury. But to go full circle back to how the Texans are just complete dumpster fire, prior to his release, it was rumored to believe that the Texans were given multiple offers to trade for J.J. Watt, and they turned them down. Now, I don't know if it was because of the fact that they were going to have to float the rest of the bill for JJ's remaining money on his contract or what. But the fact is if you're somewhat in the rebuilding stage and you get a chance to make draft picks or other players to help benefit your team, why wouldn't you just go for the trade instead of just releasing the guy? Now we have nothing to show of it except for a little bit extra cap space.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, right? we were in there in the negotiations, so it's very possible that financially they just couldn't do it.
Right.
I mean, on top of that, though, it's JJ Watt, right? Like, think of all the bullshit that the Texans front office went through when they traded DeAndre Hopkins,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, I say bullshit. I just mean the heat, like all the garbage that they got for trading it, right? And I kind of feel like maybe that makes them gun shy for trading JJ, because I mean, after JJ, like if you had a Mount Rushmore of Houston Texans, right? Like front and center, he's the guy, right? I mean, I know that there's going to be some argument for Andre Johnson to be on that Mount Rushmore. Like I get it. I'm not saying he's not on there. I'm just saying that probably the first name that you say is JJ Watt,
Mm-hmm.
right? He is the most decorated player this franchise has ever had. And so it's, to me, it's very possible that they just thought, you know what, we took a lot of flack trading DeAndre. Let's just hold off. And maybe if we can cut JJ and it kind of looks like it's his idea, then maybe we won't catch as much flack.
Right.
I honestly feel like that has to be their motive, because you're right. It makes absolutely no sense to receive offers, right? Because even a bologna sandwich is more than nothing. You know what I mean? And at this instance, you cleared some cap space. What? How much? And they only cleared what, like 3 million in cap space, or
I
some
think
crazy ass number?
5.5, something like that.
Like some minuscule number. So what's that going to get you? Like a backup offensive lineman?
Right.
Cool.
But I think this was a time for Nick Casario to, being the new general manager. This was a time for him to shine, to step up and be like, okay, we're losing JJ, but this is what we're getting, and people can be like, okay, maybe this guy does know what he's doing, right? Reassure the fans a little bit. Reassure Deshaun Watson, being like, okay, he's doing it in favor of the team. He's not doing it because Cal McNair is a fucking idiot. Um,
And
but
he is.
that's a whole nother podcast.
I hope not. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Talk about the Texans for 3 hours.
But now what's done is done. He's gone. JJ is a free agent. Right now, top two teams that people are talking about is the Browns and the Bills. I know.
Really?
Yes.
That's
Now,
not the two. I have two teams listed also. I totally expected you to say the two teams that I had,
and
and you didn't.
who's that?
I have Green Bay
Nope.
and I have Pittsburgh.
Nope.
Right? Those are the only two teams that I've heard, because he
Well,
wants to play for either his childhood dream team or he wants to play with his brothers. That's all I've heard.
Well, the only thing with Green Bay, he can't sign with them is because they'd be way over on their fucking cap money. And on top of that, they have a lot of free agents that they need to keep, O-line and then running backs and defensive players.
I've heard they made a couple moves. They cut a couple. They cut an offensive lineman, and they cut the middle linebacker. But I think it only cleared like 9 million in cap room. But I have also heard that they may not bring back Aaron Jones.
I did read that. That is going to be very interesting if they don't bring him back.
Yeah, because that guy, wow, that guy is a freaking stud. Now, I'm still in the camp of running backs are a dime a dozen, and you can always draft another one.
That's true.
I'm still in that camp, and I mean, he plays running back, so I'm not going to change it just because I saw him with my own two eyes, like dismantle teams. I know what I saw, but he's. I mean, when you watch him, do you think of Earl Campbell? Because I don't. Right?
No.
I don't think of Adrian Peterson. I don't think of like big time guys. I just think, you know what? He's very successful in what he does. But I like the other two running backs they have too, right? The AJ Dillon kid looked amazing.
Yeah.
And then they still have Oh my God, we always do this. I always get to a point where I don't remember the guy's name, and I have to look it up. Jamal Williams. That guy's good too, and he's really good at catching the ball out of the backfield,
Yep.
right? So, and then you have Devontae Adams, who is just all-time world beater. So I don't think that I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to be tied up in a running back. I know that there's a lot of an emotional attachment because the guy's been great. I get it, but I think if you put your GM hat on, you just sit down and realize that position can be filled with other people.
With all that said, and JJ possibly under your rumors going to Green Bay, what kind of price tag are you putting on JJ though? 32 years old, injury prone. Like you giving him 5 mil and a half-eaten bag of
Whatever
great
the
value Doritos?
well, I mean, yeah, whatever the veteran minimum is, I'm going to give him that. I'm going to put a lot of like incentives in the contract. I mean, I'll put in there like $1 million bonus if they win the Super Bowl.
So, but better yet, we all know JJ wants to go win a Super Bowl somewhere. So, putting JJ in Green Bay, is he the missing key that gets them a Super Bowl? No,
No,
no.
but that team is damn good. You tell me another team that's closer than Green Bay.
The Bills.
I don't think so. How?
I
Well,
do.
well,
Well, the only reason why I would say, oh fuck, the Bills, yes, but once they meet Kansas City, that's where the problem comes up, right?
right. That's my point right there. That's why if I was him, I would not go to Pittsburgh. Yeah, it'd be great to play with my brothers. That would be like unheard of in the NFL. It'd be a great
I think that'd be
story.
a first.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened. I'm with you on that, but I feel like they're not winning. They're not good enough. I feel like Green Bay has been in the NFC Championship game just this season,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the playoff teams in the NFC were the Rams, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Buccaneers, the football team, which still sounds weird, the Bears, the Saints, and the Packers, right? So, and that was with 7 teams this season because they had the extra wild card game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take one of those teams out of there, the football team, and then you have 6 teams, one of which is Green Bay, and I'm telling you, after watching Green Bay lose to Tom Brady, like I immediately was looking for a bookie so I could bet that Green Bay was going to win the Super Bowl the next season. That's how strong that team is. That team is incredible. So I don't think that JJ Watt is like the missing link. I think they're good enough already, right? I just feel like maybe he comes in and he is like recharged and he's refreshed. And I think if you're Green Bay, I think you've got to take a chance on that guy. They run a 4-3 defense. They did just hire a new defensive coordinator, Joe
Mm-hmm.
Barry. He was with the Rams. He was their assistant head coach, whatever the hell that means, and he was their linebackers coach. But I mean, his base defense is a 4-3. I think JJ Watt is better in a 4-3 defense. I just think he's better with his hand in the ground. That's my personal opinion. But I mean, the biggest selling point to me, Aaron fucking Rodgers. That's all I need. I know that guy is going to take care of his side of the ball. If I can do my job on my side of the ball, I'm going to get a ring. That's how I feel.
So the past few years, other than the referees screwing them in New Orleans, I mean, this past season we still blaming coach for the bonehead decision in the fourth, or like,
I mean, yeah, like that was the dumbest decision ever. I kind of feel like it was just 2 teams going at it, and it was kind of whoever blinked first. But I guess what I'm saying is I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be as strong.
mm-hmm.
And I mean, and eventually, Father Time has to jump on Tom Brady's back.
Nope.
Has to. That guy can't live forever.
I don't know. He's showing signs that he's probably going to play until he's 85.
I mean, look, if it leaks that somebody says he's bionic, I'm not going to fucking argue. I'm going to believe it 100%.
I won't be surprised either. I mean, he's
crazy.
He sent back. While we're on the topic of ends and leaving, your boy Von Miller, there's already rumors that him and Denver have already talked about splitting ways. So,
Yeah, I mean, it always happens to veteran guys when they get injured, and it's like a big injury. They miss the whole season, and it's the year after they signed a big contract. It's always what happens.
mhm,
Um, I don't know. Obviously, I hope that he, plays for the Broncos forever.
not happening.
Uh,
That
I'm not
dude's
listening to you.
he's already got a U-Haul truck filled and it's on its way to his next destination.
I was gonna say, yeah, Peyton and Elway are at Von Miller's house, like packing his underwear and some bubble wrap. But I just, I don't know where he's gonna go. Like, where they're just gonna cut him outright? Because I think if I was the Broncos, I would just try to restructure his contract. Why not do that? Because he's a beast. And what people, I guess, forgot about was last season obviously before the injury, he was posting pictures like every week. And that dude was totally fucking ripped.
Mm-hmm.
Like muscles on muscles. I think he had a 9-pack. I'm not even sure if that's possible.
Is that a thing?
If it is, he fucking had it. That's what I can tell you.
What does he do? Like 9-minute abs or?
Dude, I don't know. Yeah, he sits down with that little belt like across his chest while he's eating pork rinds or whatever. I mean, he looked good, right? He shaved some weight. He was faster. And I think him and Bradley Chubb on the opposite side would still be dangerous. But I mean, you're right. Like we don't think about the business part of football. And we just think, hey, this guy's good. We just want him to suit up. We want him to play for our team. That's all we really think about. And so I don't know. It is very possible that he could be playing for a different team next year.
So there are some reports of him possibly signing with the Titans, the Raiders, the Bills. I think
hope not the Raiders.
I think the Bills are going to be set up for anybody just because of the fact they probably have the open space to beef up their defense in some way. I don't know, man. You just don't want to see him playing for the Raiders, see him play twice a year against your boys?
Yeah, I don't want to see him wearing a Raiders uniform, a Chiefs uniform, or a fucking Chargers uniform ever.
I mean,
fuck those teams.
he may come down to Texas and play for the Texans and fill the spot where JJ was, right? Who knows?
Look, I don't think any free agent is coming down here.
God, no.
That's not going to happen.
No. Like, there's a sign in front of NRG. I think I saw it the other day. It says turn around.
I think, I mean, if you're Deshaun Watson's agent, right? And you obviously, if you're an agent in the NFL, you have other NFL players. How could you possibly negotiate with the Texans front office and say, hey, my guy wants out of here. Y'all don't know what you're doing. But then also, hey, I got this other guy, though, that maybe you guys want to sign. Like, how do you get to do that? So I think they're just doomed. I think the Houston Texans are now the Cleveland Browns of the 80s and 90s. Well, not the 80s, because the 80s they were winning, but of the late 90s, early 2000s. The Texans are now the shittiest team.
I'm telling you, dude, like, we're going – I hate saying it, and, yeah, I follow the Texans. I'm a fan of them, but I hate saying that every time we have a new episode, we're probably going to be talking about the stupid shit that the Texans did. One, it's comical. Two, it's fucking ignorant.
Yeah, that's the worst part is that we're not talking about, hey, look at these genius moves. We're talking about, like, hey, can you believe what these motherfuckers did now? Like, yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah, it's like a clown show. And we're just sitting around just watching them burn that motherfucker down.
Those of y'all who are just joining, or if this is your first episode and you've made it this far, I promise you this is not a Texans podcast.
No. Well, we're talking about Deshaun Watson. And I think that just leads into but what else are we going to talk about?
You're right.
It's a story until it's not a story anymore. But when either he gets traded, right? And then we talk about how he's going to fit with a new team and how that's going to work, or he doesn't get traded, and then there's not a story. So,
I think the one thing that we can talk about right now is with the trade of Stafford and Goff and the trade of Wentz to Indianapolis. Has the trade value for Deshaun Watson changed with those two trades that have taken place?
Well, yes and no, right? I say yes, because basically the trade for Carson Wentz was nothing. They gave him I have it here. They gave a third round pick this year in this year's draft, the 85th overall pick, and the conditional 2022 second round pick, but it could turn into a first round pick if he plays 75% of the snaps,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably going to happen because he's their starter. I mean, barring an injury, obviously, he's going to play 75% of the snaps. So they basically gave up a third this year and a first next year for a guy who could be MVP. I'm the last time he was with, excuse me, the last time that he was with Frank Reich, which is the coach for the Indianapolis Colts, he was 11-2 in 13 games. He had 3,300 passing yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and then he died.
Mm-hmm.
So had he not died, and let's say because that was only in 13 games. So let's say 3 more games, so he throws 5 more touchdown passes or 6 more touchdown passes. We're talking about a guy who's got 40 touchdown passes, maybe 4,000 yards. I feel like and then the team makes the playoffs. They win their division. I feel like that's an MVP quarterback, right? And then even still, right, the next season after Frank Wright left, the next season, he still played pretty well. I mean, even 2019, just last year, not this past season, the season before last, he threw for 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And you're getting him for a bargain. So I feel like maybe that trade was undervalued, but it's undervalued because he's got a lot of baggage, obviously. But then I feel like on the flip side, the Matthew Stafford trade was overvalued. I feel like they got way more than what Matthew Stafford is actually worth.
Wow.
So if that's the case, right? If Carson Wentz is cheap and Matthew Stafford is expensive, well, then you have to add it all up, right? So Deshaun Watson, he's young, and he's a great quarterback, but he's a loudmouth. And if he doesn't get his way, he's going to bitch. And he's not going to bitch like in the locker room and handle it. He's going to bitch to the media.
Right.
And so then I feel like that has to take into account. So I feel like if somebody comes to him and they want to give him three firsts and a starter on offense and a starter on defense, that's a done deal.
Yep.
That's where I feel like that trade is. Now, if that's the base, right? But now you know that he's going to probably be a problem with your front office. Maybe he's only worth 2 firsts and a third or a second. Like I feel like the value comes down. So maybe the Texans would be lucky to get what they got for Matthew Stafford.
If they get what they got for what the Rams got for Stafford, they undersold him big time. In which it's going to be something the Texans probably do if they decide to trade him, right? I don't think. Okay. The only team, and everybody keeps saying it, that has the proper amount of value to give up for him right now is the Jets, right? 2 first-round picks, Sam Darnold, throw in some second round in the following year drafts, and it's a done deal, right? Houston sucks it up with Sam Darnold for 2 years until they get the number 1 pick and they get whatever quarterback's coming out then, and then they start this whole fucking process over again, right? But outside of the Jets, I don't think there's really anybody else that has pure value to get for what Deshaun's worth, right? We've seen what
Miami does. Obviously, Miami does only because they got the draft picks from the Texans when they traded Larry Tunsil. So
they're playing with house money.
2 places. Exactly, they're playing with house money. And I feel like those are the 2 destinations that have the actual draft capital. But I don't understand. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm not gonna, my no trade clause that I have in my contract.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna let a trade to those 2 teams go through. Fuck those teams. Why would I want to do that? I can play in Houston and be 4-12, and everybody loves me and they'll hate management. Or I can go to New York and be 4-12 and freeze my nuts off and then get like destroyed by the media in New York. Fuck all that. And then on top of that, I got to pay state income tax. Fuck all that. I'm not doing that shit.
I don't know. I think at the end of the day, and I think we've mentioned it on episodes in the past or off mic or whatever, but I honestly don't see Deshaun Watson getting traded. I see him staying in Houston, probably riding the bench and pouting, trying to prove his point on something, or he does what we've seen other people do. They sit out for 6 games, and then somebody talks to them, and they come back and they just finish out the season, right? Then after the 2021 season, then management starts reevaluating everything and saying, okay, look, you stuck it out with us for a whole year. We're gonna go ahead and you find the team that you want, and we'll start doing all the moves in the background. I could see something like that happening. But as far as the 2021 season, Deshaun Watson will still be wearing number 4 for the Houston Texans.
I agree with you 100%. I think there's no way around that. I mean, there are teams that make sense, you know, like we all fell for that same thing on Twitter where they said he got traded to the Chicago Bears.
Bro,
God,
my heart sank.
Pissed. I woke up and I read that and I was like, what the hell? Why is this one random person the only person that's saying it? And then they tagged Adam Schefter in it too.
And it was shared by a lot of like top Twitter people.
Well, it got a lot of people. It fooled a lot of people, including me.
Yes, because I read it, and of course I go to all my other sources to see if it's being repeated. Now I know a lot of the sources also have a delay on them too, so I'm sitting there refreshing every 5 seconds waiting for this to come up. So after about 3 hours of refreshing, I finally realized that I'm an idiot and they got me.
Yeah, me too. Same thing for me. I texted to you. I was like, oh my God, did you see this? And then I was like, oh, no, never mind. I'm a dummy. But I think you're right. I think because of the 2 teams that we know that can pay like the actual MSRP of a young quarterback, they're not going to do it. You know, well, they could do it, I guess, but he's not going to do it. He gets final say. And to me, if it was the Giants, all right, maybe. I don't know why. It always seems like to me the Giants are like the big brother and the New York Jets are like the little like step brother that's kind of hardly talked about, you know. Right. It's kind of like the same thing with like the Yankees and the Mets, right? Everybody across the entire nation, they love the Yankees or they hate the Yankees. And everybody's like, wait, there's another baseball team there?
Right.
That's weird. What are they called?
You still with me? We lost them.
You know, so I feel like it's in the Giants. I feel like the Jets have the cap or the capital to make those trades. I guess you can only trade three years of picks.
No joke. You just froze for like 10 seconds, so I missed the completely first half of what you said.
That probably wasn't that important. No, I think I was just saying that the Jets have the draft picks. I think you can only trade 3 years of draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if that's the case, then, I mean, if you're only going to get 3 firsts, why would you go to the Jets?
True.
It's dumb. So I feel like maybe that evens the playing field. Maybe the Jets can trade more first-round picks. Maybe they can trade technically 4 because they have 2 this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that works. But I mean, I've stayed pretty steadily with. I think if he wants to go somewhere and he wants to win, he needs to go to San Francisco. I don't know if San Francisco is willing to do that. I've heard reports now that they are almost all in with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
Because they failed to get Matthew Stafford. So that's one thing that's weird is that they were in big time. Am I freezing again?
You were.
Did I freeze again?
Yeah.
Edward?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw you like pause. You were like this. So I was like, okay, I guess we froze again.
Fucking train wreck.
But no, I heard that the 49ers. Oh, yeah, this is terrible. But no, I heard the 49ers were like really, really involved in trying to get Matthew Stafford. And so that shocks me to hear them say they really want Matthew Stafford, and then that didn't go through. So now it's like, oh, we're all behind Jimmy Garoppolo. And so I don't know about that. That whole thing is weird to me.
I, I see it. That team right now is very similar to kind of like Tampa Bay, not as far as the elite quarterback status of Tom Brady, but you have the right parts around you on offense and defense to make Jimmy G look like a superstar, right? And he doesn't have to do anything. All he has to do is lay there and she'll ride on top all night.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really particularly care for Jimmy Garoppolo. I did like him coming out of New England, but that little bug in the back of my head kept saying, "Do you remember Matt Castle? Do you remember Matt Castle?"
Yes,
Because
I think everybody
same
still
guy.
has the bad taste of Matt Castle.
Yeah, I mean, how many guys have we seen step in for Tom Brady, win in that scenario? I mean, except for Cam Newton, not him. But, you know, they step in and they just win. And then they go somewhere else and they're fucking worthless.
Yep.
So I feel like this is just another case where another quarterback out of New England is just fucking garbage.
I wouldn't put him as complete garbage. I mean,
No, I mean, he's a serviceable backup. I mean,
right. You mentioned him, so I have to bring it up. Did you see the video that went viral with Cam Newton arguing with a high school football player?
so I read the caption and I just refused to watch the video.
So I watched it before we came on,
Okay.
and all it is this high school kid yelling at Cam, "You're trash, old man, you're trash." And Cam saying, "Well, I'm rich." And he goes, "Well, you're about to be broke because you're a free agent." You can actually tell Cam Newton is getting mad at a child.
Well, I mean, Cam Newton is kind of a child.
But we're continuing to see the fall of Cam Newton as an athlete and apparently as a human being because he's picking fights with high schoolers.
Well, I mean, honestly, let's just throw it out there. I'm sure the high school kid is trying to make a name for himself.
And he did.
I mean, I remember myself in high school trying to be like the class clown, trying to be funny, and luckily for us, we didn't have all this social media shit.
Lord.
Because I can only imagine what would be out there about us now. But
that kid's got a name for himself right now already.
And the kid's what, 17 years old, and he's already got balls he has to carry around in a fucking wheelbarrow. Like, that's pretty awesome.
His 5 minutes of fame are going to be around for a little bit, and then maybe 10 years down the road, VH1 does a backup story on him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, where are they now?
Right. Hey, y'all remember that kid that talked shit to Cam Newton? Well, here he is now.
Now he's a dumpster diver. I mean, you never really know like what's going to happen, but I kind of feel like in those situations, it's a setup.
Yeah.
Because if Cam Newton just takes it on the chin, like, we don't really say anything about it. Maybe somebody calls him soft. But, like, I also remember there's a video of Michael Jordan, and he's at, like, some basketball camp.
Oh, and he schooled the kid.
Well, so it was more of, like, they were playing, like, around the horn or something like that, where he basically had to make all the shots, like, all the way around the three-point line and all that stuff. And the bet was, like, he could miss twice in all the shots. But if he missed more than twice, he had to buy all the kids like brand new Jordans for the entire camp.
Right.
And there might have been like 100 kids, so it would have been like, $20 for him. Who knows?
He wipes his ass with that.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Like, the money is not the point. The point with Michael Jordan is, I'm not fucking losing, right? He didn't give a shit what it was for. It could have been for a pony. He didn't give a shit. He's winning. So in the story, the way the story goes, he misses the first shot on purpose, right, to give all the kids hope. And then he drains like 18 shots in a row. And at the end, he's like, man, fuck them kids. I mean, like, Noah Jordan, I'm sure he probably bought the shoes anyway. Like, everything.
Of course, cool. Right?
But the fact of him like, you know what? You're not getting shit for free. You're going to earn it. I'm going to show you I'm still the guy. But we love Jordan for doing that kind of stuff, right? But Cam Newton, he basically did the same thing and told the kid, "Hey,
Whoa,
you know
whoa,
what?
whoa, whoa. You can't have them two in the same conversation
Oh, no,
about
no. Yeah, no, they're not even on the same level. I'm with you.
even
I'm just saying.
off the court and off the field. No, like I
I mean,
expected,
Cam has done a lot off the court or off the field, so I mean, I'm
right?
not going to fault him for that. But
I literally though I expected Cam to throw hands at that kid. That shit would have been
well,
fucking
but how much
hilarious.
worse would it have been if he threw hands on him and he knocked him out, or the kid kicked his ass?
That's what I was hoping for.
That's not going to happen. Cam Newton's
No.
6'5", 260 pounds. That's just not happening. What high
No,
school kid's that fucking big?
that is true.
I
So
mean, but yeah, I mean, we all wish he would handle it better, but we know who Cam Newton is. He doesn't dive after fumbles, so
that's true.
you know.
He'll probably end up. Does he go back to Rivera?
Why? Why would Rivera want him?
I think he's done. I think he's done. He's probably going to go play for the FCF. Speaking of that,
I didn't know that was an actual thing. I knew Manziel was playing in that, but I haven't been watching it.
bro, like I watched week 1 of it. Now, granted, there's only 4 teams. It's actually pretty fucking cool. It's actually pretty fucking cool.
Well, I mean, what is it? Johnny Manziel runs the option left, and then he runs the option right, and then he throws it deep, or what?
Manziel actually looked okay in it, but
Well, he's playing with scrubs, dude.
but he had a backup on him that, for those of y'all listening, go look on Twitter. I've got a post of the video. I think his name is like Heineck or Heinrich or some shit like that. This kid was just dodging people left and right and still makes the touchdown. It's actually a very interesting league. I highly recommend it. They claim the fans get to pick the plays and stuff like that. I didn't dive into all that shit. I just watch it because it's another form of football. But yeah, if you get 3 minutes to waste when you're taking a shit or something, look it up and watch it. And since we're on more talk of football, did you know that there's a woman football alliance league?
No.
Yeah, these are women, full pads, not the lingerie league to where they're running around in their crotchless panties or whatever. These are like full-blown women hitting hard, looking like a high school team on a Tuesday night.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what high school team.
I didn't know that was a thing. That's pretty cool. I mean,
I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. WFA.
You looking out for fantasy league impact there?
Oh, I'm waiting to see when their draft is, and I will have my draft picks coming up. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's cool. I guess. I mean, I don't know why it's always been, just considered a man's sport. Women could play it too. I mean,
oh, dude, I think it's gonna be awesome. Like if it gets enough traction on it, this could be something that you see. I'll guarantee you right now, it'll have more ratings than the WNBA has, and over the past 30 years, it's been around.
That's probably true. The WNBA is just unwatchable.
Right.
I mean, it's a sport, and I get it, but
there's no excitement to it though.
No, and they don't have fans. I mean, I guess nobody has fans right now, but
well, even before the pandemic, nobody had fans. How many people did
Right.
you ever say, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" "Oh, I'm going to the WNBA game." Nobody ever fucking said that.
No, I mean, they still don't say that.
No,
They don't even say like I watch it on TV.
When
What channel do they come on?
Lifetime? I don't know. Fuck.
Oh, we apologize to all the women that are watching Lifetime thinking that the game is going to come on. It's not.
They're fucking looking through the guide right now and been like, "What time? They said WNBA is going to be on here."
My favorite part is that we act like there's actually women listening to our conversation. There's only maybe one women follower, maybe 2.
Yeah, my mom doesn't know how to access the internet, so it's not her.
I was gonna say the only loyal follower we would have would be your mom. That would be it. Because we have voices only a mother could love, I guess.
Shit, you haven't. Well, you've met my mother. She hates mine. Oh, well, y'all. That's gonna wrap it up for us on 2 Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. I'm Ed.
I'm Zach.
And we will see y'all on the next go round. Y'all take care.